Welcome back. Now it's time to really get into protecting the client and getting the tenant approved by the landlord. How many times have I mentioned that? The tenant is to be approved by the landlord, not you or me. In the future, Century 21 Judge Fight Company will be adding a link onto our public website, century21judgefight.com, and that link will be to a company called mysmartmove.com. This is a company that has online credit, background checks, criminal checks for the benefit of owners. It will be up to the owner themselves to actually pull the credit report, the criminal check, and background check with the approval of the tenant. When we put a property up for lease, you'll turn in that file to your administrative assistant and management of the office. At that time, your administrative assistant has been trained that they will send a thank you email to the client, the landlord. Along with that email will be a PowerPoint presentation where the owner will be able to look, and by the way, it's in a PDF format. They don't have to have PowerPoint on their computer. The landlord will then open the PowerPoint, and it's a presentation similar to this, without quizzes of course, that walk them through the process of mysmartmove.com, securing a tenant and approving that tenant for rent. It also walks the owner through accepting a tenant or denying a tenant. This is an area that maybe we have been a little lax in at Century 21 Judge Fight Company, and we are going to secure this in the future by putting this obligation with your support onto the property owner. MySmartMove has been used by real estate brokerages for this service for a number of years, and we have recently decided to go with this particular company, or to refer our landlords to this company so that they can do the approval process online. Let me make it clear, this does not substitute for the owner to actually contact or require documents from the tenant on their current job situation and their income or previous or current landlord information. Sometimes they're on the credit report, sometimes they're not. So let me make it clear that just because they go to mysmartmove.com does not mean the landlord does not need to call or require documentation from the tenant on this particular information. Their previous job, their current job, their previous landlord, or their current landlord. Many times you need, or the landlord, excuse me, do not do it yourself. The landlord will need to gather this information themselves. Okay, we're going to take a few minutes now and watch this video on mysmartmove.com so that you know specifically what your landlords will be looking at, and that you can refer them to this service again through our public site, century21judgefight.com.
Welcome to SmartMove, a powerful and secure online solution for landlords and renters. SmartMove is fast and simple. Here's how it works. If you're a landlord, you will create an account online and set up at least one property. Then, all you need to get started is your potential renter's email address. The renter then creates their account and confirms your request. Instant results are then available for viewing so that you can make an informed leasing decision. Let's take a look at this process. Landlords, from the SmartMove homepage, you will select Create an Account. Enter your name, phone number, and address. This information is required and is viewable to your potential renters. Create account information by entering your email address and creating a password. These two items will provide access to your SmartMove account anytime in the future. Create security information as a backup. Then, accept the terms of the Landlord Service Agreement. By completing these items, you will have created your landlord account. SmartMove will automatically email you a copy of your account information for your records. You may then set up one or more rental properties, depending on how many you have. Enter a name, phone number, and address for the property. These few items will be viewable to any renters who apply. Next, you may answer some questions about your property under Property Details. By answering these questions, you are customizing the credit screening criteria, tailoring the results to fit your needs. Essentially, you are telling the system how strict or how lenient you would like the credit screening to be. You may also select Show Advanced Property Settings to see 6 more questions. The more questions answered on the left, the stricter the credit screening will be for any applicants applying for this property. The more questions you answer on the right, the more lenient the credit screening will be. Or, you may leave the answers where they are, in the middle, indicating the property is an average property and that SmartMove should use average credit screening criteria. Choose Submit after completing your property setup. When you have someone who is ready to apply to rent your property, you may select Start Application from your landlord homepage. To request the credit and criminal reports of the applicant, you will first select which one of your properties they are applying for. Then enter the rent amount, deposit amount, and lease term. All you will need to get from the renter is their email address, because they will be entering their sensitive information online themselves when they log into the system. To use SmartMove, any renters who apply for your property will need an email address because this is a consumer-initiated rental screening service, meaning the renter plays an active role in applying online and releasing their information themselves. If they do not have an email address, they may use one of the many free online services to create one. If the renter has a spouse, a roommate, or a cosigner, select Add Renter to enter the next email address. This will ensure you will receive a joint recommendation for all the renters on a single application. Lastly, select who will be paying for this transaction, you the landlord or the renter. Then select Send Request. Verify all information before submitting. Select Send Request upon completion. Notice that SmartMove will copy you on the email request sent to the renters if you wish to be copied. You will then receive confirmation which you may print or leave stored securely online within SmartMove. SmartMove has now emailed your request to the renter. You can monitor the status of the request on your personal landlord homepage, where you can see that Step 1 has been accomplished. The request has been sent. If you view the application at this point, you will notice that a credit recommendation has not generated yet because the renters have not responded yet. In the meantime, you may log out of your account because SmartMove will notify you by email when the status has changed. Now let's take a look at the renter's role in the process. At this point, the renter receives an email indicating their background information is being requested. They can then use the link in this email to go straight to creating their SmartMove renter account. When the renter creates their account, they will enter their name, address, date of birth, and social security number. Much of the sensitive information entered here is concealed later, making the application process secure and comfortable for the renter. They will also create account information and backup security information so that they have access to their SmartMove renter account in the future. By accepting the renter service agreement, they have completed creating their account. SmartMove will email them a copy of their account information, which they can retain for their records. The renter's homepage will indicate that their credit and criminal history is being requested so that they may be considered for leasing the property shown. They can select Continue to view the details of the request. They now have the ability to view the terms of the request, and they can decide if they want to proceed with the process or not. If they've changed their mind or choose not to proceed, they can select Decline Request, at which point the landlord, you, will be notified via email, and neither the landlord or renter are charged if that is the option chosen. If they wish to continue applying, they will select Confirm Request. If they chose to proceed, they will then enter their income, liquid assets, and select their employment status. If you had designated that the renter would be paying for this transaction, they will then enter their payment information. A summary of their application information will appear so that they may confirm all information was entered correctly before submitting. Before their application is completely submitted, they must successfully pass identity authentication. By answering a few identity questions correctly, SmartMove is able to help ensure that consumer information is protected by preventing fraudulent use. Once the renter has successfully passed authentication, they receive confirmation that their credit and criminal reports have been sent to the landlord. Since SmartMove sends these copies to the landlord for their consideration, the renter has the option to use TransUnion TrueCredit to view their credit report themselves if they wish. Otherwise, they may print a copy of this confirmation or leave it stored securely online within SmartMove. Renters can monitor activity from their homepage. SmartMove will also email them to notify them when the status has changed and a decision has been made. Let's switch back over to view your next steps as the landlord. SmartMove will email you indicating when the renter has accepted your request and released their background information to you. You may then log back into your landlord account. From your homepage, you will see the application has now completed Step 2, meaning the information can now be viewed by selecting View Application. SmartMove has now generated a reliable screening recommendation tailored to the criteria you set for your property. Remember, you answered a few questions about your property to let SmartMove know whether to be strict, lenient, or to use average screening criteria. So, an analysis of the credit history for your applicant will appear, indicating if they meet the credit requirements you've set or not. This helps you determine the most qualified applicants for residency quickly and efficiently. You'll receive one of 4 recommendations: accept, low accept, conditional, or decline. You may then read suggestions pertaining to the recommendation shown. To view the credit report, you may select the green credit icon in the lower left-hand corner. The renter's TransUnion credit report will display, and their sensitive information, such as date of birth and social security number, will be concealed. This is an easy-to-read credit report that's designed exclusively for rental screening purposes, making reviews quick and easy. To return to the results, select the application number at the top. You may then review the applicant's criminal history by selecting the blue criminal icon. If any records were found from the National Criminal Search, the state and number of records will appear. You may then open the records to view the details, which can help you make a decision as to whether or not to lease to the applicant. In this example, 0 criminal records were found. To return to the application, select the application number at the top. After having reviewed the credit recommendation, the suggestions, the credit report, and the criminal report, you may select Make Decision. This is the third and final step. Once you have made a decision, the application is closed and no further changes can be made. Select your decision. Then enter any applicable comments to be sent to the renter's SmartMove account. To complete the process, select Make Decision. The renter will then receive an email from SmartMove indicating your decision. Your decision is saved. SmartMove also provides a letter for you to print and complete and send to the renter. Back on your landlord homepage, you will see that Step 3 has now been completed, meaning your lease decision has been sent to the renter and you may contact them with any additional questions or requests. Let's switch back over to view what the renter sees. The renter receives email notification from SmartMove of the lease decision. They may then log back into their SmartMove account to view the comments you sent to them. From the renter's homepage, they will select Continue. Here, they can view the lease decision you selected and the comments you entered. In review, SmartMove is simple for you and your renters. Once you create your account and set up your property, you can start an application. All you need to get started is your potential renter's email address. The renter then creates their account and confirms your request. Instant results are then available for viewing so that you can make an informed leasing decision. This concludes how it works. Thank you for watching.
Okay, welcome back. I hope that you found that video was very educational and insightful, and where your landlord will be able to utilize this service for determining the value or the quality of the tenant. Let me make it clear too that once the landlord requests this information, an email will go to the tenant. The tenant has to approve the landlord's request, and then the landlord gets the credit report. The great thing about this is the credit report information actually comes back and says whether this tenant is fair, poor, good, or excellent. So it really is a great benefit to the landlord. As we talked earlier, there are 8 breeds of dogs that most insurance companies exclude from their liability coverage. I, for one, as a property owner, will not lease to anyone with any of these dogs. So they're in front of you now: Pit Bulls, German Shepherds, Akitas, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Doberman Pinschers, Chows, Rottweilers, Caucasian Mountain Dogs, and Great Danes. These dogs are excluded from liability. In other words, if something happens where one of these dogs bites an individual, or even worse, which we won't go into on this video, the landlord could be sued and their liability insurance would not cover the landlord. So this is very important that owners understand this risk that they're taking by renting to one of these dogs or owners of dogs. Of course, we need to collect the information from the tenant to pass along to the landlord. An application fee for each occupant 18 years or older. You know what that says? Order. Sorry about the typo there. $35 per applicant in form of a cashier's check or money order. made payable to the landlord or an amount at the landlord's direction. Usually it's $35. You need to collect a copy of each applicant's driver's license and social security card. You need to review the application with the landlord. You need to review the landlord, their responsibilities in processing the tenant's application, and retain a copy of all documents, including a check for the office file. The administrative assistant has another email and again will send the landlord PowerPoint to the landlord so that they can be refreshed on mymove.com at the time of application. So we have two opportunities to send the PowerPoint presentation and the use of the rental screening process to the landlord at the time we take the property in for rent, as well as the time we get an application on the property. Okay, time for another quiz. Won't take long. I'll be right back.